Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Rants show. This is a very, very brief reminder about your local library. Now, this is a reminder that your library exists, not that you should use it. I don't really care if you use it or not. To me, the library is very, very, very antiquated. It was made at a time where the internet did not exist, obviously, and books were the only way to attain information. Now, I'm glad things have changed. I'm not a huge fan of books, but also I'm not a huge fan of waiting. If I have a question to something, I want to get the answer right away. I don't want to have to go to some place and look it up. Yes, it's probably better for you. It's probably better for the brain to work hard for it. But you can learn a lot more now than you ever could back then, which is a big deal. That's a big deal. Now, libraries are still around. Now, me personally, I used the library a little bit when I was a kid, but it has been at least 10 or 15 years since I've consistently used the library. I couldn't even tell you where my library card is. But for me, the library was checking out DVDs. I would get the Simpsons DVDs or Batman movies and stuff, and playing Happy Wheels after school on the computers. That was the extent of the library. I do not think I ever checked out a single book unless it was for a school project where you had to check it out, from the school library or whatever. And that's a whole nother topic. The fact that schools have libraries, it's insane. But it's one of those things where you kind of have nostalgia for it, but not enough to where you would want to see it stay. I am completely indifferent to libraries. Meaning, if my local library were to shut down tomorrow, I would be, it'd be shocking, obviously. But I don't know if I would really care. I'm not gonna say anything. Because it's just a building with books. Yes, it was a part of my childhood, not a big part, not a good part, but it was a part of my childhood. But it's also, kind of obsolete in a way. There are people that consistently use the library to save money on books and movies and stuff. But the whole concept has been just completely privatized. Libraries were the original streaming. For all you kids listening to this, which is probably none of you, you don't have the fucking attention span to make it this far. But libraries were the original streaming. If you wanted to watch the new episode of SpongeBob or whatever, and you didn't have Nickelodeon, you didn't watch it live, guess what? You got to wait a couple months and then go, rent out, check out the DVD, the series, the season. But it was kind of special in that way. There was this whole routine where you check out a movie. I'm always going to say movie because I never checked out books. I would check out a movie. I would watch it a couple times, and then I would return it and get something new. And I never reserved movies in advance. I would just go to the kids' movies section, and it was this beautiful thing. And, I'm in that weird generation where it was still DVDs. Early in my childhood, it was VHS, really, really early. But for the most of my childhood, it was DVDs. But I did not grow up during the prime time of Blockbuster. And I never used Redbox, maybe once or twice. But I did have a Blockbuster up the road from my house, and it shut down. And I remember going in there maybe about 20 times. And like, I can still, like, I could draw the layout, even only going there like 20 times when I was so young, like a fetus. I can still like remember the layout perfectly, like the appearance of it perfectly. And I feel like one day, this is just a theory, one day we are going to look back on libraries like that. You're going to look back on libraries like Blockbuster, just some extinct building. I do have this feeling that libraries will be extinct sometime in the future. So I appreciate you listening to this, and I will see you tomorrow.